well, I can't see you, but you can see me, and I'm so glad that you're here with us today. My name is Shannon. I'm the educator here at the zoo, and we are going to talk decomposers. This is one of my favorite things to talk about because these are some of my favorite things to find. I've always been a bug girl. I'm really, really big into the insects, into invertebrates in general. Slugs are one of my personal favorite things, and I know that might sound weird, but there's some of us out there. I just know there are more. Let me know if you're out there. I want to hear from some slug fans, okay? So we're going to talk about what these animals are. We have some of these here at the zoo, and if you've been to the zoo in past years, past summers, you might have been introduced to some because our junior zookeepers spend a lot of time with some of these animals and introducing them to our guests. They're some of their favorites to handle, to introduce to people, and help you get a closer look at these animals that most people really don't think they want a closer look at. I think that's pretty fun. So let's start off today with, one of my favorite animals. We are going to talk millipedes. So this is a species that, again, if you've been here at the zoo in the summertime, you're familiar with these because, well, JZKs have had them out for you to see many, many times. This is called a Peruvian millipede. Millipedes are amazing creatures. Well, let me give you the basics of decomposers. We'll back up a little bit. What a decomposer does is uncomposes, right? So to compose means you make something. If you think about a piece of music, a piece of art, or even a dish, a meal, you're composing something, you're making it. But if you are a decomposer, you're unmaking it, you're deconstructing it. And that's what decomposers do. They live in the forest, or really anywhere there's organic matter, which is almost everywhere. And what they do is they take care of the litter, of the garbage. So think about a forest and all the garbage that is on the forest floor. There's leaves, there's sticks, there's branches, sometimes whole trees fall down, there are fruits, there are flowers, seed pods, all kinds of things that are falling on the forest floor. And if all that is allowed to pile up, imagine how tall that would get. And it's not going to go anywhere without the help of decomposers. It's just going to sit there. And with wind, with rain, with the warmth, it might break down a little bit, but the decomposers help to get rid of it. So they're really the garbage men of the forest. And millipedes are in that group. So what they do is they eat that food, eat those plants, the pieces of the organic matter that they find. They use it for their body's energy and their needs nutritionally, and then what's left over, they poop it out. And when they poop it out, basically they're pooping out little bits of what they ate, and it's going into the soil. And when it goes into the soil, now it can be absorbed by the plants and be recycled. So these are the original recyclers, nature's recyclers. So decomposers are very important. They get rid of all the stuff that would get in the way of animal traffic, of growing new plants up. All that stuff needs to it needs to go somewhere. It needs to be gone, but it also can be reused. So that's where that decomposer comes in. So these millipedes are amazing. You can find millipedes here in Illinois, right here where we live. They don't get this big. This is one of the bigger species, well, it's more normal for the tropics. But our species are more like a juvenile one of these guys. He's hard to pick up because he's so teeny tiny. But I picked up a juvenile that we had in our collection, in our colony. And you can see how teeny he is. When they hatch out of their eggs, they are this big. Well, maybe even a little bit smaller. They're teeny tiny. And then they grow up. So these guys they go through incomplete metamorphosis, which means the adults look like the infants in general. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So they molt as they grow. They shed their exoskeleton because they are invertebrates. They have an exoskeleton on the outside. And over time, they just get to be about this big. So this, somewhere between this and 1 inch is about the size of our native millipedes. You're not going to find any bigger than that. So it's fun to see these guys. You can really see the legs. You can take a look at how they wave at you. I think that's the fun part. So one of the animals that these guys get confused with a lot are centipedes. Centipedes and millipedes are very different. Millipedes are herbivores, decomposers. Centipedes are predators. They're carnivores, so they're hunting prey. When they move, they're not moving just lightly through the forest, stepping just, moving a little bit at a time, real slowly. Centipedes are on the march. Centipedes are hurrying. They are running to catch prey. So they move much differently. You'll see, if you see one scurry, you know that's a centipede. Centipedes also have a venomous bite. That's not usually, the ones that live here, aren't the type who have a venom that would do us harm, but it does hurt. It stings more like a bee. And so we have to worry about messing with those guys. But they need that in order to kill their prey. They also have, half the legs per body segment. So you can see how he's got segments on his body. Just those rings, those stripes you see, those are each a segment of exoskeleton. And he's got 4 legs. They don't like it when you turn him over, but you can sort of see this, how they have 4 legs attached to each body segment. Now centipedes are only gonna have 2 legs on each body segment. So that gives them fewer legs in general. This guy's got about 350 legs. So I don't know how he walks without tripping. I can't not trip over my 2 legs. He's amazing. So we're gonna let him go back, and I gotta show you this other millipede. We have these amazing, incredible. If you're a millipede fan like myself, you go crazy about these guys. How about that? He's an African giant millipede. He is a millipede that you're gonna, find in Africa, in the rainforests of Africa. Same basic structure, same idea, same decomposer, just really big. These guys can get to be almost a foot long and about as big around as a quarter. So they can grow very large. Now what millipedes will do when they're not used to being handled, if you find one outside and you decide you would like to pick it up, it wouldn't hurt it. What it's gonna do is curl up into a little circle, a tight little ball. These guys are used to being handled, so they're not feeling so stressed. But that's their defense mechanism. They hide their head and try to not look like food, not look like something tasty moving around. They also will secrete just a noxious kind of a substance from between their segments. And with them, it's kind of yellow. It smells chemically. And if something smells gross, it usually tastes gross, or you think it's going to, so you're not going to eat it. So it's another way they can prevent predation. Cool, huh? I love his antenna. That's how he waves. So I don't know if you guys spotted another decomposer yet. I don't know where he is. Eric, do you know where he is?
He went over your shoulder. I think he might be in your hood. Can I look?
In my hood? He might be under it. He's not under my sweatshirt. I can't.
Did he jump off?
I don't think so.
Did he? We've lost him.
Well, we're going to introduce you to his fellows. We'll find him at some point. He might be in my pocket. Nope, no pocket.
He was on your shoulder and then he disappeared. And so that's why I thought he would be in your hood, but.
Well, that's interesting. I like to let them. Well, see, I'll share my tongue with you. Look, it's a brooch. Get it? A brooch. This is a Madagascar hissing cockroach. This is a female. The one that's around my hood somewhere is a male. These guys are a very large species of cockroach. These are also decomposers. There are about 3,000 species of cockroaches in the world, and we always think, ew, cockroaches, and we think about the ones that like to live with people. There are only about 2 species that like to live with people. These guys, if they come into your house, all they want is outside. They live on Madagascar, that island off the coast of Africa, in the rainforests. They're just made, you can tell all these animals are not brightly colored, they're just really, they look like dirt, and they want to. It helps them blend in. It helps them just to chill, live life down on the forest floor and survive that way. So he's really cool. Now they're called hissing cockroaches because they hiss. They have these, insects have breathing holes in the sides of their body called spiracles. And what these guys have are little, almost like balloons, little sacs that are attached to some of those spiracles, and they can hold air in there. And so what they'll do when they're frightened, and I don't know if she'll do it because she's not been super vocal. Come on honey. Would you do it? I guess she likes you guys too much. If they feel threatened, what they'll do is they will express that air out. So it's like letting air out of a balloon, kind of a tss sound. Boy, she's not feeling it. I'm sorry about that. I've even picked one that we haven't held much, so I thought maybe she would be really excited and really wanting to share with us. Well, that's all right. Hey, I have some homework for you guys. I thought it would be fun for you to get out and find some decomposers on your own. And you think, where do I find a decomposer? Honestly, a lot of places. In your backyard, literally. Today is a beautiful day, and I want you to go out into your backyard and I want you to find something, maybe a piece of wood, maybe some leaves, maybe mulch, maybe it's a rock or a piece of concrete that you've had laying around, just something that's been laying around on the ground. Flip it over and see what you can find. I went outside and I found some slugs this morning. I told you I love slugs. They're my favorite things. These are some, well, smaller slugs on the juvenile side. Sometimes you'll see slugs that are, see, this is how big he is. He's a teeny dude, but he's not as small as they get. And then we get him a little bit bigger. This is a leopard slug, so is this one. And you can tell by the lines on them, the leopard slugs can get pretty big, like this big. They'll grow to be that big. Now, when you pick these guys up, they are going to be slimy, and that's because they want to not taste good. Just look how he crunches up. He just kind of scrunches up and gets little. Isn't that great? And then when he gets a little warmed up and used to what you feel like, he'll stretch himself out, relax, get those antennae going. And what's fun about these is you know where they've been, especially on warmer nights. You wake up in the morning, and on my sidewalk at home, I see these trails where I know they've been, and it's very exciting. I have another critter that I wanted you to see that you also might find outside if you look. Let me use my little, there we go.
Grace's mom was just asking about these.
Hey, cool. So here we go. This is actually an invertebrate. It's called a pill bug or a roly-poly. Depends on where you come from, what you call it, what your dad called it, right? My dad called them pill bugs. So it's hard to pick them up and see them moving around. We'll keep them in the cup so you can see them moving. They've got lots of legs, little antennae, and they're all over the place. Underneath, they love those, under the logs, under the pieces of wood. And when you pick them up, they're going to roll into a ball, and it is a perfect little ball. Their exoskeleton protects them, and they do not look like food. So they're going to not be eaten, and it's a terrific defense for them. If you hold it in your hand for a little bit, there's a really good chance that he might open up and start crawling around, but these guys are quick. This morning, when I went out to collect them and just bring them in for a little bit here, they were really slow because it's a chilly morning. So later this afternoon, they'll be a little bit more warm and ready to play. Cool. Well, I have shown you everybody I brought out today, but I want to see if you have questions.
Can we go back to the roach real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Here, I'm gonna just unscrew the lid if I can. You got it? Okay. I know we were watching them, and then Grace's mom saw them, but the little mites that are crawling, and of course they're all gone now. They're all hiding. There's one on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
So little mite. Yeah, I want you to talk about those.
Cool. Those are called cleaner mites. Now, cleaner mites are, well, there's different species of mites for different species of animals, and almost every animal has them that live on land anyway. We have them. We don't know that they're there. We don't feel them. We don't aren't influenced by them, but they help us out. So what these cleaner mites are doing are, one, getting their dinner. They're eating from the cockroach, but what they're doing is keeping the roach clean. So they're almost like little maids that live on the roach, and they just live between the segments. They come and go, in and out. It's pretty fascinating. It's a symbiotic relationship. So they're keeping that roach clean from debris. Anything that's on its body that's organic, they'll eat it and get rid of it, and then the roach tastes clean. So there's nourishment for the mites, and the roach gets a bath. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's very cool, huh? Anybody else have questions or comments? I know Joe said that she loves bugs.
Awesome, Joe.
Bugs are cool.
Bugs are the best.
And then somebody said that they miss animal crackers.
Oh, I miss you too. We are so looking forward to starting some summer animal crackers classes. We'll be doing it virtually this year. We haven't really announced that yet, but that's the deal. I'm excited that we'll be able to still have our story time and our animal time and our craft time. You guys have to provide your own animal cracker snack, but it's gonna be fun still. I promise we're gonna have a great time, and I miss you guys too.
All right. We will wrap up real quick. And I just wanted to remind everybody that even though Giving Tuesday is over, you can still make a donation through the button below. The Society and the Zoo still need our help. And then if you do donate, you'll be entered in to win that drawing from our tortoise, our irradiated tortoise, the painting she made. So that's really cool.
Cool.
So we'll be back next week with
Awesome.
lots more fun animals.
Yeah.
Shannon will have a cool animal next Wednesday.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate seeing you.